I'm 84 years old, and let me tell you something people get wrong about old age. Most of us are not afraid of dying alone. That is not the fear. The real fear is something quieter. The real fear is being slowly turned into a problem while you are still alive enough to know what is happening. That is the fear. Being managed, being scheduled, being discussed in kitchens you are not sitting in. Being loved, yes, but loved in that suffocating way that starts sounding less like care and more like relocation. That is what I want to talk to you about today. Because if you are older, or if you love someone who is, this matters more than almost anything. There comes a point in life when people begin using words around you that sound gentle but feel dangerous. Options, support, safety, community, placement, help. And I have lived long enough to know that some words are sweetest right before they take something from you. So let me say this plainly. Do not go somewhere to be taken care of before you have asked one final question. Have I truly run out of ways to remain myself? Because that is the real issue, not whether you can still boil tea, not whether you need help with the groceries, not whether someone else thinks a different arrangement would be easier. The real issue is whether you are still allowed to remain yourself. I have been a daughter, a wife, a mother, a widow, and for the last several years, a woman who lives alone in a house that is too big, too quiet, and still, beautifully, stubbornly, mine. And the year my daughter decided I needed help, I thought the story was going to end one way. It didn't. But it did teach me something I wish more older people knew before they surrender too early. Let me take you back, not to childhood, not that far. To the year my daughter Margaret looked at me and saw a woman she loved very much, and a woman she feared was one accident away from losing everything. I do not blame her for that. Love becomes fear very easily when it comes to old age. She had been watching me for months, the way people watch a chair with one weak leg, still standing, still useful, but with a private doubt already forming in their mind. She noticed the slower walk, the longer pauses, the time I forgot where I had put the kettle and found it in the refrigerator, which I maintain was a single lapse and not the beginning of anything dramatic. She noticed that I no longer drove after dark, that I carried smaller grocery bags, that I held the handrail longer than I used to when I came down the porch steps. And one Saturday, she sat in my kitchen with a notebook she tried to hide from me, which was amusing because I taught her to make notebooks for difficult conversations. And she said, "Mom, I think we need to talk about your options." Now, if you are my age, you already know this. When your children say options, they usually mean they have spent 3 weeks talking about your future without you. I do not say that bitterly, only accurately. She had 3 ideas. The first was that I move in with her. The second was that she arrange a caregiver. The third, said in the softer tone reserved for things people know may wound you, was a residence, a place with staff, a place with safety, a place with activities written on a whiteboard, a place where I would supposedly never have to worry again. I told her I would think about it. And I did, for 3 honest weeks. Then I decided to try the first option. I moved into my daughter's house. And let me be fair, it was not terrible. That is important. Too many people tell these stories as if every daughter's home is a prison. It isn't. Margaret's house was warm. Her children were lovely. Her husband was decent in the quiet, practical way decent men often are. There was food, noise, life. Small children running through rooms with the unearned confidence of people who have never had to worry about their knees. There was laughter, there was routine, there was kindness. And still, by the end of the second week, I knew I could not stay. Do you know why? Because no matter how much people love you, their home is still their home. Their rhythms, their dinner time, their bathroom schedule, their school runs, their noise, their priorities. And you, if you are old enough, become a piece fitted into their life rather than a person still living your own. No one means harm by it. That is what makes it so difficult to complain about. Dinner was at 6. I have never in my life been a 6 o'clock dinner person, but at 6, the children ate. So I ate at 6, quietly, gratefully, like a woman trying not to inconvenience the machinery of a household that was not built around her. I woke before dawn, the way I always have, but in my own house, early morning is mine. In someone else's house, early morning feels like trespassing. So I lay still in the guest room, careful not to wake anyone, and understood something I had not wanted to admit. Comfort is not the same as belonging, and kindness is not the same as freedom. That distinction matters more in old age than people realize. I tried. I truly did. I folded laundry, read to the children, helped where I could, made soup one Sunday, and watched everyone take second bowls, which pleased me more than it should have. But I also heard things, fragments, a comment about the bathroom, a schedule issue, a whispered sentence that stopped when I entered the room. Nothing cruel, nothing even deliberate, but enough. Enough to tell me that I had become a logistical fact in their daily life, a thing to work around. And one night, in the lavender-smelling guest room that was objectively lovely and not mine, I cried. Not because anyone had mistreated me, because I understood that if I stayed, I would slowly become grateful for smaller and smaller versions of myself. So I left. Then came the second option, the caregiver. Now let me be fair again. The woman who arrived at my home was not unkind. She was efficient, prompt, capable. She cleaned well, cooked sensibly, and spoke to me with all the polished patience of a woman who had cared for many elderly people and considered herself very good at it. And perhaps she was. But from the first week, I knew that was not the answer either. She called me Mrs. Marrow, which was technically correct and spiritually irritating. She rearranged my kitchen in the name of safety and efficiency and left me unable to find the sugar for 2 days. She made me lunches that were very healthy and completely joyless, and she sat in my house as if my life had already become something to supervise. Do you know what happens to a person when a stranger begins moving through their home as if it is now a workplace? Something inside them retreats, not all at once, quietly. Your kitchen stops being your kitchen. Your morning stops being your morning. Your chair stops being your chair and becomes the place where the client sits. People do not talk enough about that. The spiritual insult of being professionally helped inside rooms full of your own history. That kitchen was not just a kitchen. It was where I packed my children's lunches, where I stood with my husband after bad news and good news and no news, where I cried after my mother died, where I danced badly once with Gerald after too much wine and a little impossible happiness. And now a woman with rubber gloves and a clock-in time was moving through it like a polite intruder. I could not bear it. There was also the money. No one likes to talk about money in these stories because it makes everything feel less noble. But money matters. I was comfortable, not wealthy. The caregiver cost more than was sustainable. My daughter offered to help. And there it was again. That dangerous soft descent into being carried by other people in ways that eventually become harder to reverse. So I stopped that too. And then only one option remained: the place, the residence, the community. Let me tell you something important. I am not going to stand here and call every such place heartless. That would be dishonest. There are good people working in those places, kind people, exhausted people doing difficult work with far too little pay and too much emotional strain. There are older people for whom such places are genuinely the right answer. This is not a cruel speech against them. This is a speech about timing, about surrendering too soon. Because when Margaret took me to visit one of those places, I knew within 10 minutes that I was not ready. The walls were cheerful, the staff smiled, there was a piano no one was playing, a courtyard no one seemed to own, a board announcing the day's activities: 9 o'clock stretches, 12 o'clock lunch, 2 o'clock film, 4 o'clock social hour. And I stood there, 91 years old, and thought, I have been making my own decisions since before some of these staff members' parents were born. I have survived grief, childbirth, recession, illness, widowhood, and every president who thought he understood women better than women understood themselves. And now a board was going to tell me when I would socialize. No, not yet. That was the thing. Not ever, perhaps one day, but not yet. Because at a certain age, after life has taken so much from you already, the right to decide what you do at 2 o'clock in the afternoon is not a small right. It is one of the last sacred things you have, and I was not ready to hand it to a schedule written in dry erase marker. So I said no. And then, for the first time in months, everyone was out of ideas. No daughter's house, no caregiver, no cheerful institution, just me, my too big house, my green armchair, my late dinners, my own silence, and the unresolved question of how an old woman lives alone without becoming either a burden or a project. Now listen carefully, because this is the part that changed everything. The answer did not come through a program, or a service, or a plan. It came through a mailbox. One ordinary afternoon, I went outside to collect the mail, and next door, the young woman who had moved in a few months earlier was struggling with a stroller, a paper bag of groceries, and a toddler who had chosen that exact moment to sit down on the pavement and refuse to move. She looked like a woman holding her life together with one hand and wishing desperately for another. I knew that look. I had worn it for years myself, so I said the most ordinary sentence in the world. "Can I hold something?" That was it. Not wisdom, not strategy, a paper bag, a tired mother, a child with opinions. And from that tiny moment, a different kind of life began to form. Her name was Layla. She was young enough to still think 91 was unimaginably old and tired enough not to care. She had 2 children, very little support, a job situation that had gone wrong. A face I recognized instantly, the face of someone trying not to drown politely. At first, it was simple. Could I watch the little one for an hour while she took the older child to school? Yes. Could she pick up a few things for me when she went shopping? Yes. Would I mind if the older girl sat in my kitchen after school until Layla returned? Not at all. Then slowly, something ancient and beautiful began to happen. Not friendship exactly, not family exactly, something older than both, neighborliness, the old kind, the kind people used to build lives on before everything became professionalized and outsourced and turned into appointments. The toddler, Marcus, became part of my mornings some days. The older girl sat at my table doing homework and asking questions only children and old people know how to ask honestly. Layla sat in my kitchen after hard days and told me the truth about her fear, and I told her the truth about mine. Do you see what had happened? Everyone had been trying to solve my old age by removing me from life and placing me into management. But what I actually needed was not management. It was participation. I did not need to be absorbed into someone else's schedule. I needed to remain useful in the world. That is a very different thing. A woman who is useful does not disappear so easily. A woman who is needed fights harder to remain herself. And suddenly I was needed, not in some grand way, in human ways. Could I hold the baby? Could I listen? Could I keep an eye on the soup while Layla ran upstairs? Could I sit with the older girl for 20 minutes and admire the lost tooth? And in return, I was no longer alone in the frightening practical corners of old age. Could Layla carry the heavier groceries? Yes. Could she change the light bulb I had been pretending not to notice for 3 weeks? Yes. Could she knock on my door just to ask if I was all right? Yes. This was not charity. That is what people misunderstand. This was exchange. And exchange preserves dignity in ways one-directional care often cannot. Because when help only goes one way, the older person becomes the site of need. But when help moves both ways, something more equal survives: respect. This is what so many families miss. They think the old person needs to be taken care of, perhaps, sometimes. But many old people do not first need taking care of. They need a way to remain connected to usefulness, to relevance, to being part of something living. That is what saved me from going anywhere before my time. Not bravery, not physical strength, not denial, relationship, real one, unscheduled one, human one. And in those months my daughter came to visit and saw it. The children from next door in my kitchen, Layla talking to me at the table like I was still a person with thoughts worth hearing. Me looking, as Margaret later said, like myself again. That sentence undid me a little, because I had not realized how much of myself I had started losing under the weight of being discussed, helped, scheduled, evaluated, and solved. People mean well. God knows they do. But sometimes older people do not need a better facility. They need a better reason to stay engaged with life. Now let me be clear again. This is not a fairy tale. I still have hard days. I still get frightened. I still have moments when my body reminds me, in no uncertain terms, that time is winning. I fell once in the hallway last winter and lay there long enough to understand why my daughter worries. Bodies do not negotiate forever. I know that. I am not foolish. One day, perhaps, I may need what I refused before. I am not making a universal declaration. I am saying this: do not go before you must. Do not let fear make the decision before reality does. Do not accept management as your first answer. Try life first. Try community first. Try exchange first. Try knocking on a door first. Try asking, who can I still be to someone, before you accept becoming only someone to be managed. Because if you still have that answer inside you, you still have more life left in your own home than people think. I'm 84 years old. I live alone. I am still sometimes afraid, but fear is not the thing that decides whether you live well. What decides whether you live well is whether you keep reaching across the space between yourself and other people and offering what you still have to give. That is what keeps a person alive in the deepest sense, not merely supervised, alive. So if you are afraid to live alone, I understand, truly. But do not go somewhere to be taken care of before you have tried being part of life again. Because sometimes the answer is not less freedom. Sometimes the answer is more connection. And those are not the same thing. That is what I learned too late to be elegant about it, and just in time to still be grateful. And for now, in this house, in this chair, with my late dinner, and my own door, and my own name still attached to my own choices. That is enough. Exactly enough.